before we do that, I'm going to talk about night lights. So really, we have two circuits for night lights. Can we just zoom out a fraction? Just come down a bit more. I could almost work the camera. Okay, we're there. So we've got two circuits which we can use to make night lights, and we also, for people who don't want to do any soldering, we have another solution which just uses a battery box and an LED. So I'll probably start with that one because that's the simplest. So if you wanted to have some kind of mood light or night light for some kind of, it might be a child's bedroom, or it might be, you know, you might have them in bars or restaurants or something. We have a colour changing LED. Now I don't know if you've seen these before. I think they're quite common, and we use them in a lot of our kits. But basically it's an LED that when you power it up, it automatically cycles through the colours of the rainbow. So I'll demonstrate that now. Just show you what it looks like, and then we'll talk about this battery box we've got here. So yeah, it's just, you can see it starts with red, and it goes through the colours of the rainbow in sequence over around about a 45-second period. Yeah. So I'm not quite in the middle of the picture. So yeah, so that's really neat, and all the three kits, well, the two kits and this I'm going to show you here, all use this rainbow LED. So now a lot of people, a bit like with a squeezy torch, they want to make things, but they don't necessarily want to do any soldering, or they might not have time to do any soldering. So to make it simple to make a little night light, literally minutes, we've got a battery box now that comes with a connector on the end. I don't know if you can kind of see this connector, but literally this is pre-crimped onto the battery box. The battery box has a switch on it which turns the power on off to this connector, and this connector actually will accept an LED as like a push fit, so you can push the LED into the into the holder, slide it into position, and you don't need to do any soldering, and there we go. So you know, what I normally do is push them down tight, trim off the excess legs just so they don't short each other out and stop it working. So that could then form the basis of a very simple nightlight project without any soldering at all. You know, literally the LEDs and the battery boxes, you'd be probably looking at around about £1 to do something like this. And you can make quite neat, and these LEDs are nice if you embed them into perspex or you can light up frosted plastic and give a nice diffuse effect. So that's, if you want to make a very, very simple nightlight, this is probably the easiest place to start. The next step up from that would be, we have a similar, same LED, but now what we're going to do is we're going to turn it on when it goes dark. So we have a very simple circuit here. It uses an LDR to detect the light level, and then some transistors to switch on the LED. So this is the LDR here. If I cover it over, we can see that the LED turns on. So what's happening is the LDR feeds into the transistors. When the light level is below a determined level, it turns on, and that light level can be adjusted by this variable resistor you'll see just here. So I can tweak that if I wanted to, and say, you know, I want it to come on when it's very dark or when it's just becoming dark, and then the LED comes on. So it's a neat little circuit, very quick to make, minimal parts. The only, well, the finer pitch thing would be the transistors, and even that is very simple. It's not like there's any complicated ICs or anything else in there. So this is an extremely easy little circuit, very popular. We sell them by the bucket load, but you know, it's a great little way if you want to do a little bit of soldering, and then this can then form parts of a bigger project, something you might want to make your own nightlight. So that's a extremely popular project. But then we have this one. Now the reason we created this timed nightlight is because though this circuit is excellent, it does have a drawback in that when it becomes dark, say it's a children's nightlight, it becomes dark, the LED comes on, but it then stays on all night even if the child has fallen asleep. So in some applications you probably are wasting a lot of your battery life, and you know, if you just leave it powered up all the time, you might only get a few days or so out of it before the batteries are flat. So to get around that, we've created this product called a timed nightlight. So it uses the Uses the same LED, the same principle, and we've got an LDR. But this time, that LDR feeds into a timer circuit, so it becomes dark, and you can see the LED comes on. After a period, that LED turns off. Now, if I get my little screwdriver, what we can see is that's relatively quick. This potentiometer here sets the duration, so at the moment it's set very low. I could increase that duration if I got myself the right type of screwdriver. I'd been so now it's longer. You can see it comes on and stays on for a much longer period of time. Starts going through. So, and that duration can be quite long. So what you can do is you can say, well, actually, we want a night light that we're going to have that comes on at night and stays on for 20 minutes, half an hour, and then after that, it turns the LED off and takes virtually no power. So you can leave this powered up all the time. You wouldn't need a power switch like we talked about earlier, because by adjusting this timing period, you can leave the batteries in and probably leave them in that state for a number of months before the batteries become flat. Obviously, the longer the LED stays on after it's become dark, the shorter the battery life will be, but it does offer a lot more benefits. So yeah, it's very neat. You can, like the other circuit I showed you a second ago, you can adjust the light level at which it turns on with the second potentiometer. So one sets the light level and the second one sets the duration. And then we've just got a number of effects here to do the switching with the different states. The timing is done by the capacitor, so it's a capacitor charge or discharge, but it's the RC constant of the capacitor that sets the duration for how long the LED stays on after it's been activated. So that's a really I really like this circuit. It's really neat. It shows some it's neatly designed, and I think it just shows a little bit of progression on from the other circuit, but both perfectly valid, depending on what you're trying to make. So hope that explains the differences between our night lights.